This is the next stage in the horror story of my new seats. You can see how bad that is. That's just as I've taken the seat cushions off. The rusting behind it. It seems to be mainly surface rust, but if I put a complete new bottom edge on this, if I cut this out above there, put a new bottom edge, the metal above it, the metal above here is quite sound. I'll just put about a 50mm insert into that, weld it in, and hopefully make that good. Well, using my trusty spot weld splitter, this very thin bladed hydraulic tool, air tool, I've taken off the back. You see the edge is pretty shocking, but I've made a template which made a template to give me the shape of the contour of that, so I can put everything back. This edge here I'll probably lose, but it's just a turned edge. You see it's just knocked over, and it's nothing very, just a turned edge which I can. Now that's the edge cut off. You can see this section just here with all the rot back, so it's cut back to good metal. I can then lap that on there with a swaged edge which will overlap, so I can spot weld it to it. I'll show you what I'm going to do here. You can see that I've turned the edge on this piece, which is that will be let into there. Bearing in mind that this has been cut back by 30mm, I'll cut the end completely off, put this piece in, and the same on the other side. This one here will be put in on this side, and I'll show you now what I'm about to do with the you can see this is a swaging tool, which is an air driven by one of my old CP guns. You can see you feed it through by hand and it gives you this swage, and fortunately it's also curling it in the direction that I want it. So that is just a question of putting, let's just put that in, and then as you go along just push it through and this will swage it all the way. This is the same seat back. I've wire brushed it. Admittedly I've used an industrial type rotary wire brush that has zinged this up really well. I've still got a bit more rust inhibitor to put on. You'll see that this is a piece of the swaged 30mm extension that I'm going to fix to the bottom edge along here. This is reduced by 30mm, so this will be 30mm plus the swage, which will bring this back. I'm using slightly thicker material to give me much more rigid back, so that the flexing will be reduced. This end here is a wired edge, which I'll show you in a moment how I'm going to make that. As I said, the next stage is reproducing the wired edge. You can see the wire in the side of the seat base. The part that I'm making here, that's it blanked out and marked out. The formula for the amount of metal that you fold over, that's the wire that I'm going to use. It's slightly galvanized so it won't rust. The diameter is 3.2mm, so the formula is 2.5 times the diameter of the wire that you've got to use, which you'll see is 8mm, and that's what I've superimposed onto the top of the contour. You see the shape. These are the old ones that I've taken off, totally useless, and that's what I'm replicating in this. Left and right hand, don't forget, they fold inwards. So the other formula you can use is twice the diameter of the wire plus 4 times the thickness of the steel that you're going to use. Whichever one suits you. You can practice on a little bit and see which one suits you and use accordingly. There's one of the wide edges done. You can see the wire sticking out there. I've used the 2.5 times the diameter of the wire method, and I've just done it in a vise. So you see the line that I've got there, gradually feed it through because it is curved and you have to feed it through to just what the line is showing, beat it away and turn it. This is the next stage of forming the wired edge. You can see that I've got it in the vise. The steel is clamped in the vise and the wire is loose, and by striking it on the top edge here, there's the start of it, you'll see it will tuck the wire in and drive the steel down so it clenches it up really tight. Just proceed along and you'll see the finished. That's it, both the edges wired, ready to weld onto the end and fix to the false back that I'm going to weld onto the bottom of the seat. You can see now where the wired edge section will go in there. To finish that off, I've tacked in the 30mm section that I cut out from the rusty section that I cut out, and the wired edge will come into this one here as well. This is just a trial setup. The back is, I've got to check the amount of lean back. I've taken a measurement before I dismantled it, so I know how far the seat will lean. Here's the finished article. Looks pretty good. You'll notice that this part here is at an angle, so that's so I can pick up the two bolting for this sideways. They are offset because the seats are handed, left and right handed. The bottom I've done, the bottom is there, and I've welded in some washers because there is a tendency for it to split there. I'll show you again when it's totally finished. There it is in primer now. I've got the correct lean back, which from the previous measurement from the base down here, the lean back is about 200mm from the flat of the seat. So I'm very happy, considering, as you remember, this is what I started off as a pattern, and I've ended up with a perfectly usable seat, slightly thicker material than the original, so that will give me more rigidity. I'm very happy with this conclusion. I'll show you, I'll just paint it with the black that it should be. There we are, there's the finished article, an early TR4 seat base and the back refurbished and put back on. I've tried the seat base in it and it fits well, and I'm very happy with it. So all in all, I've saved myself a few £100 and given a new exercise, different techniques. The seat base method can be used for the TR3 and 3A bases. The difference is they don't have the depression, they have the swaging right across, not in but the technique is the same. They've got the similar runners. Use it if you want. I hope you get on our